drying process is a pail, sand, a tray, colander, and a scoop made by a plastic bottle. Firstly, fill the sand into a pail with shovel. Secondly, fill the water into the pail which containing sand to make sure the unwanted materials, mostly a small particles such as dirt, to float on the surface of water. Remove the water that contain a dirt. Next, put the sand on a colander and flow the water on it to filter the unwanted material, which consists of big particles such as small rocks. The sand will be passing the colander and flow into the small bucket. Then, again, I filtered the sand using the same colander to remove the water. This is the clean wet sand. The clean wet sand is placed on the tray. Distribute the sand evenly on the tray to make sure the wet sand is not clumped. This is to make sure the sand will receive adequate and same heat so that the wet sand much easier to dry. Lastly, put the tray with wet sand on an open area under sun for the drying process. The drying process required is 24 hours. The material required for determination of density of standard sand is a tray, dry sand, electronic mass balance, the cylindrical container with a cone made by plastic bottle, the calibrating container, and the cardboard with hole. Firstly, put the sand into the cylindrical container and measure the mass of the cylindrical container and cone with sand to indicate the mass before pouring. Then, place the cylindrical container on the calibrating container such that the base of the cone is on top of it and let the sand flow until it stops. Leave the cylindrical container alone without cone. Weight the cylindrical container with cone and remaining sand. By using the remaining sand, flip the container such that the base of the cone is at the bottom on a tray. Before that, I close the cone base with a paper and then slowly pull the paper. Let the sand flow into the cone until the flow stops. Then, place the hard cardboard on the mouth of the plastic bottle and leave the cylindrical container without cone. Then remove the cone. Only sand remains on the tray. Lastly, weigh the sand from the tray to get a mean mass of sand in cone. This is the material required for determination of density at field. First, expose a flat area and brush away any loose extraneous material. Lay the cardboard tray on the prepared surface with the hole over the portion of the soil to be tested. Make sure the tray is not moving by nailing the tray. Then, start to excavate a round hole by using the garden trowel and spoon. The round hole should be approximately 100 mm in diameter and 150 mm deep. Put the tray on the top of the container and place the soil into the container. Then measure the mass of wet soil from hole. The soil is then placed in the container and later should be placed under the sun for drying process. Next, fill the sand into the cylindrical container and weigh the mass of the sand. This is to indicate the mass of sand before pouring. Then, flip the cylindrical container such that the base of the cone is on top of the hole that we excavated. I place the hard cardboard under it to indicate that the shuttle is closed and then slowly pull the cardboard. Let the sand flow until it stops. Then, leave the cylindrical container alone without cone. Weigh the remaining sand in the cylindrical container with cone. This is the mass of sand after pouring. The material needed for this task is electronic mass balance and dry soil from drying process. The soil that is excavated is placed under sun for the drying process for 24 hours. This is the dry soil after drying process. Lastly, weigh the mass of the dry soil. Thank you.